Okay, this is Algebra 1, and we're still graphing inequalities. We're going to look at some special cases. Your special cases are going to be your horizontal and vertical lines. And you're just going to have to memorize that anytime it's just y equal a number, it's a horizontal line. That's because it has to cross the y-axis. And so it horizontally goes across that axis. So even though we're dealing with inequalities instead of equations, it's the same rule. Y is greater than or y is less than, it's still going to be a horizontal line if you don't have an x going on. So you still got to use your same rules about solid or dashed and above or below. So if you looked at y is greater than 3, you would notice that it is going to be a dashed line, and that's because there is nothing under, it's just a greater than symbol. And then you're going to shade above because the arrow points away. Remember, if you took it and you turned it into an arrow, it's not a very good one, but an arrow, it would be pointing to the right, which is away from the y, and away is above. So the way you make your line is you go to where y is that number, okay, y is 3 there. You draw a dashed line, okay, and they already have it. I'm just showing you what would happen. And then you would shade above, so you would put your pin on the line, go up, there's the above side, there's where you shade. On this one, you would notice that it is going to be a solid line, and that's because of this line right here. And then it's going to be below because your arrow, when you make it an arrow, actually points to the y. So you go to where y is 2 and you make your dot. You draw a solid line across the graph. Put your pencil on the line, go down, there's your below. Okay, the other special case is when it's just x and there is no y. We learned previously that x equal a number is a vertical line. That means it goes up and down, okay? Inequality is the same thing. The only thing that's different when you have just x is that you cannot get above or below a vertical line. It's just not happening because it goes forever up and forever down. So this is the one and the only time that you will think about shading right or left. And if it is greater than or equal to, and it's away, which would be above, you're actually going to shade to the right because that's where the bigger numbers are. If it's less than or equal to, you'll shade to the left. So this time you go to where the line where you are crossing the x-axis at that number. So you go to where x is 5 and you make your circle. This one is going to be a dashed line because there is no line under it. So you would draw your dashed line, and then it's greater than, it's getting bigger, so it's going to go that way. Another thing you could do is realize that as long as x is at the beginning, then if x is at the beginning, you would shade the direction that it points. So if you were to turn this right here into an arrow, it points to the right, you shade to the right. So x is less than or equal to 3. This one is going to be solid. You go to where x is 3 to make your dot. You have a solid vertical line, and it's pointing to the left, so you shade to the left. Okay, so those are your two special cases, things that work a little bit different than what we were doing previously. So looking at number 1, y is less than 5. We're talking y, so you go to where y is 5 and you make a dot. Okay, it's going to have to be a dashed line because it doesn't have anything under it. It has to cross the y-axis, therefore it is a horizontal dashed line. And then it points to the y, so you would shade below. So you put your pencil on the line, you go down, here is your below. X is less than 1, you go to where x is 1 and you make your dot. This is also going to be a dashed line because it doesn't have a line under it. This one is going to be a vertical dashed line because we're crossing the x-axis. And then you're going to shade the way it points, which is to the left. X is greater than or equal to -4. You go to where x is -4 and make your dot. This is going to be solid because it has a line under it. So you're going to have your solid vertical line, and it's pointing to the right, so you shade to the right. Y is less than or equal to -2. Go to where y is -2. There's your dot. This is going to be solid because it has a line under it. This is going to be a horizontal line because it has to cross the y-axis. And then it's pointing to the y, so you shade below. Put your pin on it, goes down. There's your below. Going to the next page. This is just a refresher of what we were doing in the last lesson. You got to get y by itself, so we're going to move that x, and you have -2y is greater than 4 minus x. I don't like that negative, so I'm changing every sign. 2y is less than negative 4 plus x. Everything gets divided by 2, so y is less than negative 2 plus 1/2 x. You can either put that into y equal and go get 2 points, or you can say my y-intercept or my b is negative 2, so I go down 2. My slope is a positive 1/2. I go up 1 over 2. My line is dashed because they did not have a line under it. It points to the y, so it's below, so I put my pin on it and I go down. Here's my below. Number 6, you got to move that 3x, and so 4y is less than or equal to 12 minus 3x. Everything gets divided by 4, so y is less than or equal to 3 minus 3/4 x. I would go up 3 from my first point. From there, I would go down 3 and to the right 4. Once again, you can put this into y equal and go to your table to get 2 points if you prefer. This one is going to be a solid line across the entire graph. It's pointing to the y, so it's below as well. Go down, there's your below. If they give you a graph and want the inequality to start with, we see that it is solid and that they shaded above. And the way you know they shaded above is I put my pencil on here and I have to go up to get to the shaded area. Solid and above means its y is greater than or equal to. You can either take 2 points, for example, 0, 3, and 4, negative 2, and take them to stat, or you can use your slope and your y-intercept. My slope is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, and 1, 2, 3, 4 over. So this would actually be, it's going down to the right, so it's a negative 5 over 4x plus 3. If you put these points into stat and went stat calc 4, you should get the same thing. You'd probably get negative 1.25x plus 3, which is fine. Okay, this one is dashed. And once again, they shaded above. So it's going to be y is greater than. We have, you can either say this is a point of 0, 4 and a point of, where's another good point? Right here, negative 5, 1. And you can take those to stat, or you can count out your rise over your run. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going up to the right. It's positive 3 over 5x plus 4. Or if you did it at stat, you ought to have y is greater than 3/5, which is 0.6x plus 4. Either one of those will work. I don't care which way you do it. If you're comfortable with rise over run, it's faster. If you're not comfortable, you need to go to stat to make sure you have it right. All right, that's it. So you're ready to get your assignment. It's short. This is the last actual assignment for your unit. You're going to go to the review and then the exam after this. Call me over if you have any questions.